MTV, first of all, was a big thing for us because it was the first time that we did something like this going on TV.
MTV is one of the main reasons as to why I am here today.
Go to the finals of an all-island competition truly means a lot to us.
Go, go, go. Come, come, come. Work, work, work. So those are the usual things I say to the team.
Same thing, like we do a lot of research.
Glad to have a team that will work equally hard.
We help each other with our researchers.
We had proved that we are not a team that had to lose in round one.
They are pretty good, but we hope we can beat them.
May the best team win, and usually the best is enough.
We are really happy, excited actually. We really want to win.
We are here today to give the best fight possible.
We work really hard.
Every book we read, every periodical, every magazine, I guess we knew that we are one step closer to where we want to be.
We went out, we met so much of people, interviewed them.
Is worthy of staying in the fight.
It was our exam, so we sacrificed a lot of time.
May the best team win.
Wycherley International School.
With the Debater Season 1, MTVSports created the first ever televised debate platform for English debaters in Sri Lanka. We decided to take the untried and untested path as we connected schools all around Sri Lanka through diplomatic dialogue. And here we are today at the climax of the second phase of this revolutionary journey. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand finale of the Debater Season 2 with Seema on MTV Sports. It's a greatest pleasure that I welcome to Stein Studios our VIP guests from SAARC and Achievers, celebrating an excellent and memorable partnership during Season 1 and Season 2. Welcome to Stein Studios, ladies and gentlemen. The topic that will be debated here today during the grand finale that will determine the champions for tonight is whether or not the SAARC nations should have a common currency. Our proposition for today were with us during Season 1. However, what we saw in Season 2 were a set of new, fresh faces. They were recognized by the spot-on research and the crisp arguments that they always brought into this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for your proposition for tonight, Wycherley International School.
Two main reasons.
Does not have proper quality.
There is not a single health impact, economic impact.
Give me a number!
Wycherley International School! Wycherley International School! Becoming the champions for tonight becomes a reality. Now to introduce to you your opposition for tonight, they were indeed an extremely fierce force during Season 1 and Season 2. They were always known for the new and innovative ideas that they brought when it came to delivery and putting their arguments across. However, their dream of getting into the grand finale was squashed in the semi-final round when they were beaten by Lyceum International. Irony is such that they came here because of beating that very school. They were an SMS qualifier, but here they are, introducing to you your opposition for today, Muslim Ladies College.
And we stand strong as side proposition by proving it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are not speaking about the money.
That is what the debate has boiled down to.
Muslim Ladies College. Muslim Ladies College. the four ladies, and we hope that this time your dreams will become a reality. Let's see how the fight progresses as we move on. Now it's with greatest pleasure that I introduce to you a distinguished panel of judges comprising of experts in the fields of business, economics and finance. We have with us the former director of the Economic Affairs Division of the Commonwealth Secretariat. He is a veteran in the fields of economics and finance, not only in Sri Lanka, but all over the world. Welcoming to Science Studios, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy. We have with us another academic who would not need a special mention when it comes to the worlds of finance and business among the academic circles in Sri Lanka. We have with us Professor of Business and Economics, the Faculty of Management and Finance, University of Colombo, Professor H.T. Karunaratne. We also have with us an individual that is very close to our hearts when it comes to the debater. Our team, as well as the debaters who've been here. He has been with us from the inception of this season, seeing the progress of the debaters, and I'm sure that the two teams here would have gained much from the advice and tips that he has given throughout. Group Director of the Capital Maharaj Organisation Limited, a veteran and a well-known individual in the fields of marketing, finance, manufacturing and media. Welcome to Stein Studios, Mr. Srila Lahangama. In keeping line with the traditions of Season 1, we're now ready to pay respects to the school songs of the two schools, starting off with Wycherley International School.
Let us rise to the honor of Wycherley, to the blue and the red, full harmony, symbolizing the peace and the unity of all the nations gathered here. We shall learn through the precepts of honest men, of their burdens of life and of tolerance. On the field we shall learn to play the game. Wycherley we shall strive for renown and fame. Let us rise to the honor of Wycherley, to the blue and the red, full harmony, symbolizing the peace and the unity of all the nations gathered here. Valiant knights shall emerge from within our walls, persevere through trials, for every falls, and the aim of our toil shall be mankind's gain, and success through discipline we shall attain. Let us rise to the honor of Wycherley, to the blue and the red, full harmony, symbolizing the peace and the unity of all the nations gathered here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the school song of Muslim Ladies College.
School of our youth, we pledge to thee our love and faith and loyalty. Teach us with simple faith to trust all powerful Allah, wise and just. Teach us to grow and take our place as gracious women of our
teams have come a long way. This is not a competition of the normal nature of a debate where you discuss and debate in front of judges. This is in front of television. And both Wycherley International and Muslim Ladies College have come a long way. They're about to start the 4 rounds that will determine who will take away the championship of Season 2 of The Debater. We would like to hear from the schools a word of encouragement. First of all, to Wycherley, show the power of our audience here today and back up your team as they step in to this journey. Can we hear it from Wycherley International School? Thank you, audience. And Muslim Ladies College, Wycherley has given an excellent cheer up for their teams. Can we hear it from Muslim Ladies College for these 4 very powerful ladies as they embark on the journey towards the Grand Trophy? From Muslim Ladies College, we're ready to move into round 1. This is the first chance that both the teams will get to lay a strong foundation for their arguments as they build on as we progress towards the future rounds. We're now ready to invite the proposition to take the floor.
Honorable judges, members of the proposition, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. The topic at hand today is there should be a common currency for SAARC countries. As the proposition, we stand strong in our motion saying that there should be a common currency. The key words of the topic are defined as follows. Should means to advocate something, to be in favor, support or urge by argument. And common currency as a unit of money that should be shared by several different countries. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not here to debate if a common currency can be established or how it is done, but rather if it should be done and why. Nevertheless, for the benefit of this House, we propose the following roadmap. The creation of a common currency begins with the greater economic integration of the South Asian region, which will eventually lead to the establishment of the South Asian Central Bank, which will have power over the monetary policy, and which will eventually culminate the issuing of the South Asian common currency, which, for the purpose of this debate, will be termed as the South Asian rupee. Beyond this, we do not expect to discuss on the how, but let us focus on the should. Even though we are well prepared to debate on how a common currency can be achieved, doing so will not be topical at this debate. As the opposition, we will prove firmly 8 indisputable reasons why SAARC needs a common currency. Firstly, political stability. The rise of a common currency will reduce political conflicts that are currently in place within the SAARC region. As stated by industry experts in the Economics and Political Weekly in 2005, given that South Asia is a region which has been dogged by mutual mistrust, tension, and even armed conflicts between neighbors, political stability is probably the strongest, ladies and gentlemen.
With the first speech of the proposition being done with, we're now ready to invite the opposition to take the floor.
Side opposition wants a common currency in South Asia. Common currency, the highest form of monetary union possible. But ladies and gentlemen, the question is not whether common currency would benefit South Asia or not. But the question is, how significant are these benefits for South Asian countries against the very real costs that common currency imposes on us? Principal jury, praiseworthy proposition, and all concerned, a very good day. The day where side opposition shows why there should not be a common currency in South Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall prove to you this in a framework constituting of 2 measures. First, compatibility of South Asia with the optimal currency area. And second, the affordability of the loss of monetary independence for South Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to go through a few regional organizations for the benefit of the debate. ASEAN, 65% of its trade is intra-regional. Similar shocks, high intra-factor mobility, and a high price and wage flexibility. However, it does not want common currency as the levels of development are different. Ironically, India's economic performance is 800 times than Maldives, and the development levels are different. That is, the richest has economic performance which is 300 times than the poorest. By the way, Maldives is not the poorest country in South Asia. Next is the euro, comprising of the most developed countries. The symmetrical nature of disturbances and the high degree of factor mobility makes it a good candidate for common currency. But was it successful? Quite controversial. Ladies and gentlemen, now SAARC, with its dissimilar nature and rigid capital and labour mobility, political instability and low intra-regional trade.
Let us now invite the final speaker from the proposition to take over the floor for round one.
Good evening, honourable judges, members of the opposition and members of the House. As my first speaker already stated to you, we are not here to talk about the can and the how. We are here to talk about whether the SAARC countries should go into a common currency or not. My first speaker shared with you reason number 1, which is political stability. Let me share with you reason 2, 3 and 4. Reason 2 is that a common currency can help improve long-term economic planning and discipline. An article published in the Wall Street Journal in 2004 titled Early Days for South Asia's Common Currency suggests that introducing a common currency would enforce discipline in the economies and increase transparency. A South Asian central bank is more likely to make long-term decisions as it will comprise of economic specialists from all the member countries who will not be compelled to political situations. This will bring in many societal benefits such as more synchronized regional GDP, interest rates and inflation. The third reason, ladies and gentlemen, for a common currency is the reduction of transactional costs. Consumers and businesses would not have to change money when traveling within the SAARC region and would encounter less cost and red tape when transferring sums of money across borders. It was estimated that a traveller visiting all 12 member states prior to the euro would lose 40% of their money due to transaction charges alone. So with a common currency in the SAARC region, you get a more attractive and economical region for both consumers and businesses, both within and outside the SAARC. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth reason is that a common currency reduces or even eliminates exchange and currency risk and therefore increases investment. When currency and exchange fluctuations are neutralized, then risk in the region reduces and increases the opportunity for return.
Let me now invite the final speaker from the opposition to close the case of the opposition.
Ladies and gentlemen, should was defined as urged by the proposition, first speaker of the proposition. But if you urge an illiterate person to use a laptop, ladies and gentlemen, it would end up in a disaster. A point to ponder. Honourable panel of judges, worthy proposition and all present. One of the main prospects which has to be essentially present for the disadvantages to be minimal and the advantages to be maximum in a common currency is the eligibility to be an optimal currency area. However, SAARC countries do not qualify for this criterion. A common monetary policy would mean a common approach to address the problems. However, if the way of responding to problems differs from country to country, then a common monetary policy would not be feasible. For example, the global financial crisis, it hit in 2009. Inflation in Sri Lanka busted but boomed in India. Hence, the correlation of economic shocks remains significantly negative, making it unsuitable for common currency. Further, ladies and gentlemen, if the region is facing asymmetric shocks, then there should be at least high levels of intra-factor mobility to diffuse financial or necessary trades from one region to another. But the scenario in SAARC has not been directed in such a way. With a low capital and low labour mobility, South Asia would not be able to face asymmetric shocks with a common monetary policy. Hence, the impact of a monetary policy would be economically huge. We have no symmetric shocks. Fine. We have no intra-factor mobility. Fine again. But if we even do not have the political commitment to overcome such problems, then not fine. Without political stability to overcome such problems, without political stability in South Asia, economic integration would only set off the ticking bombs. India has problems with all its neighboring nations, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and a major South Asian power player, Pakistan. Adding to this, India is willing to give up its military independence only if it has a key position in making policies.
With the conclusion of round one, both the proposition and the opposition have very skillfully summarized to us how their arguments will progress and develop as we move on to the further rounds. However, the question is whether these points could be justified, since they would both face extremely strong opposition from their both relevant sides. However, we're ready to take a very short commercial break, but ensure that you stay tuned in as we'll be back with round two, the face-off round.
Two main reasons.
Does not have proper
There is
politics.
not a single information.
Health impact, economic impact.
Wycherley International School! Wycherley International School!
I'm very well satisfied with my team, and they are a very qualified team, and they have done a lot of research. They've interviewed certain economists as well, and I know, like, not being able to be supportive with them at this point, maybe it's a bit on the bad side. But anyways, I feel that my team has all the expertise, knowledge, and the ability to overcome this debate. And moreover, they are very topical, so they are going on the right path. Probably they would end up with a good result.
And we stand strong as side proposition by proving it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not speaking about the money. That is what the debate has boiled down.
Muslim Ladies College. Muslim Ladies College.
Very glad about the kids. And usually I call them kids because they are very perfect in putting out all the facts, right? About 90% is always elaborated already. Then I hope we are having the very big threshold here. Then we have just exposed ourselves into a broad spectrum of the vision that both teams, of course, I have to say. And I'm really proud of my team and the co-workers around here. And hopefully I feel like winning by the grace of Almighty. Beyond all, we have to thank the Almighty for bringing us here.
Welcome back. This is the grand finale of the Debater Season 2 with Seema on MTV Sports. Reminding you, your two teams battling it out today. We have Wycherley International School and Muslim Ladies College. Round one is done with, and we're ready to move into round two, the face-off round, taking the intensity of this competition a notch higher as we give the chance to both the proposition and the opposition to directly quiz their opposition. Proposition, opposition, the floor is now yours.
The former Prime Minister of India, Wycherley, stated, and I quote, "The development of greater economic stakes in the SAARC economics which would pave the way for a more ambitious but entirely achievable goal, such as free trade area, economic union, open borders, and a common currency." Good evening, honourable judges, learned opposition and members of the House. My first two speakers gave you 4 critical and significant reasons for why there should be a common currency. Well, I'm here to give you reason number 5 and reason number 6. Reason number 5 is economic integration. Economic integration brings the benefit of greater size, internal efficiency, robustness to the SAARC economy as whole, as well as individual member states. This in turn offers for higher growth, economic stability, employment, and high international bargaining power in the international market. Yes, madam.
Sir, do you think political stability is an important factor to be considered?
Yes, it is definitely an important factor to be considered because as my first speaker stated, beyond this reasonable doubt that political stability is an important factor and thereby there is no doubt about that. Anyways, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, a shared common currency also decreases relative price distortions. As prices become directly comparable among nations, they have a positive effect on economic growth, not only via international trade, but also by promoting tourist arrivals. And hence, my sixth reason is economic growth among SAARC countries. The benefits of a currency union have been researched and reviewed extensively, ladies and gentlemen. Rose and Stanley, for example, two well-known economists, researched 34 highly accepted papers and find that a common currency regions increases trade from 30% to 90%, ladies and gentlemen, 90%, and thereby contribute to accelerate growth and poverty reduction. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, do you think intra-regional trade is an important factor to be considered when determining whether a common currency should be established?
Every reason is an important reason. I mean, that's what we've been telling from beginning. Because all these are significant reasons. 8 significant reasons which have been presented and which are to become and which are... Anyways. As the conversion costs are limited, currency would play a major role in reducing informal trade. If a common currency is permitted, much of the informal trade would be converted into a formal trade, and hence would allow the government to gain additional revenue. Currently, 26% of tourists come to Sri Lanka and are from SAARC, South Asia. With a common currency, which means more linkages in South Asia and less exchange costs, we will not only increase tourism within South Asia, but also outside South Asia. Coming to a few rebuttal points, honorable judges, the proposition said that India has different conflicts with everything, but it is to be noted that when a common currency is formed, India would have to take in action into account, because if India does something wrong, it is going to affect Pakistan as well. So therefore this will reduce wars and therefore create friendship among.
Honourable panel of judges, worthy proposition, fellow opposition and members of the House, a good day. 2 questions side proposition has been avoiding: how and can. Ladies and gentlemen, these are 2 questions which will prove whether or not the policy to be implemented would be practical or not. And we heard side proposition saying that they can prove to us as to how this will be implemented. And I would like to ask them, please do. Yes, sir.
May I know what's the topic in hand today? I'll tell it for you. The topic in hand is whether there should be a common currency. See, if you can steal, that doesn't mean you should steal. Therefore, it's clear that we are not being topical at all.
Sir, the topic says should. Should, you defined it as an urge to establish common, and we would take it here as an urge to establish common currency. If you have an urge to establish something which will not work, sir, it would be disastrous, sir. Like the example provided by my fellow speaker, if you give a computer to an illiterate person, even if you urge him to use it, he cannot do that, sir. Moving on. Sir, you stated that intra-regional trade is an important factor to be considered. So we do not have intra-regional trade, sir. In this diagram, you can see that Europe has 60% intra-regional trade, whereas South Asia, this tiny little thing, that is intra-regional trade, sir. 5%, sir, less than 5%. So the transaction cost which you all are stating, there will be a reduction in transaction costs, sir. I do agree. But for transaction cost, do we need to lose our monetary independence, sir? Sir, the European region has 60% intra-regional trade, and therefore they lose, their transaction cost reduces by 40%. Going with the usual mathematics we have, SAARC countries have 5% intra-regional trade. So counting on that, we would have a transaction cost which would decrease by about 3.33%, sir. 3.33%, sir. Do we need this, sir? We are losing our monetary independence, sir. Yes, sir.
See, if there is a monetary mechanism controlled by South Asian Bank, the monetary policy, as my second speaker stated, there is something called long-term economic planning. That means the South Asian Bank would do which is feasible for the economy as well and is not influenced by any political factor but just economical factor. And second question is my learned opposition, how credible is your research? How do I know whether that's a good site you have got that research from? You could have done it by Microsoft Word as well.
Sir, this information was provided by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, sir. And moving on. bringing in ground reality, sir. SAFTA, South Asian Free Trade Agreement. The optimal objective SAFTA wanted was common currency. We couldn't get the initial phases right, sir. Initial phases. If we cannot come together for the initial phases, could you give me a guarantee as to how we will succeed in achieving economic integration, sir? Political stability is a component which we need to focus on. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you said that that information was obtained by you got it from central bank. Why didn't you say it from beginning? If it was such a critical and important information, the learned opposition would have said it from beginning. How do I know that she's just catering to the situation and just adding central bank's name?
Sir, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience caused, sir. Moving on, he stated that political stability is an important factor to be considered here. We do not have political stability, sir. We cannot come together for a very small, minute trade agreement as SAFTA. But we want to achieve common currency, sir. How is that possible? So we will be losing monetary independence, sir. Our independence to formulate policies which would suit our nation, sir. Afghanistan wants price stability. Bangladesh wants inflation control.
Good evening, respected judges, members of the opposition and members of the House. I'm here to talk to you about the 7th and 8th advantages of forming a common currency. Reason 7 is increased labor mobility. At the aggregate level, labor mobility conveys important economic benefits. The reallocation of workers across regions permits the maximization of labor resources as they are found in new places. High labor mobility across borders can be a useful mechanism when adjusting to shocks which lead to high unemployment in any individual country. That answers my opposition's question about being in a common currency and not being able to adjust to asymmetric shocks, ladies and gentlemen. 1 in 4 people in the world today live in South Asia. By providing a common currency for all these people, we allow them to find more meaningful employment, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, madam.
So you spoke about the fact that intra-factor mobility would be increased if common currency was implemented. So don't you think that if intra-factor mobility increases, then most of the people would be prone to go to countries that are more developed? And if 1% of India's population comes to Sri Lanka, that is nearly twice our population. So is this feasible, sir?
Madam, do you realize why would India want to come to Sri Lanka first? Aren't they more developed than us? So the chances of Sri Lanka going to India will be greater than India coming to Sri Lanka, and our people will benefit more than that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me continue with my speech. On a more personal level, increased labor mobility gives the worker an opportunity to improve his own financial situations. By allowing each worker to find for new jobs, move to a new location and seek higher wages, he is going to be more happier wherever he is working, which would have a positive impact on productivity, ladies and gentlemen. The 8th reason as to why SAARC should form a common currency is because of a global trend towards a common currency, ladies and gentlemen. Europe created the EU, and this has resulted in the formation of a euro. East Asia is in advanced stages of forming an ASEAN monetary union, and my opposition comes up here and tells that they are not taking steps to form a common currency. I do not understand how. And so is South Africa taking advanced steps to form an SADC monetary union, ladies and gentlemen. If we, the SAARC, do not take more steps to form a regional monetary union, we will be left behind and we will lose out compared to all those blocs who have taken significant steps to going ahead and forming a common currency. Thank you. Yes, madam.
That's it, ma'am. So. Honorable panel judges, worthy proposition, and dear friends, a very good day. SAARC proposition stated that economic integration would be a #1 factor in resulting political stability. But ladies and gentlemen, let us see the practical examples of the past. Whenever all South Asian countries came together for an economic agreement, this resulted in failure. Added with the failure, ladies and gentlemen, we also had added political instability. For example, India had postponed the 12th summit without the consent, without considering the welfare of other nations. This kind of hegemonic nature resulted in aggravation of political agreements within South Asia. Further, North-South negotiations, South-South negotiations, GATT negotiations, SAFTA, all these negotiations and agreements ended up in failure. And ladies and gentlemen, a very important part, this did not only end up in failure, this aggravated the political culture, political condition of South Asia. And sir, what guarantee can you give me that if common currency is implemented, that political stability would increase. And yeah, sir. So further, they also stated about the fact that if we have common currency, then our economic agreements and all the procedures would not be compelled by political reasons. But this is something that cannot be avoided within economies, ladies and gentlemen. Even in Euro, we see Germany having a dominating hand in making decisions. That was a cause for destabilizing the Euro, ladies and gentlemen. And the same could happen in SAARC if India's hegemonic nature came within the procedures of common currency. Yes, sir.
Madam, before Germany joined the common currency, do you know how strong the German currency was? They were willing to give that up and still come and join the common currency, madam. And that answers your question about Germany.
Yes, sir. German currency was very strong and they were willing to give it up. Germany gave up its economic growth, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Germany and Ireland are both countries that are backing out. And further, ladies and gentlemen, Euro was not successful, ladies and gentlemen. We have countless countries in Euro that is in shatters. For example, Greece, Ireland, Portugal, Italy. All these countries can be cited as examples for countries that regret joining common currency. Yes, sir.
Madam, do you know why Greece got affected? Greece got affected because they manipulated their own finances to join the common currency. This is not a disadvantage of a common currency, madam. This is
the political culture of SAARC countries are also associated in such a way where manipulation has been an intrinsic feature. For example, in 1987, we saw India dictating Sri Lanka as to where we can buy our weapons from. We saw India's Indira doctrine as a peak of hegemony, ladies and gentlemen. In such a situation, can we guarantee common currency?
Madam, that's what we are saying. By the forming of common currency, these countries are going to come together and work. Now say India and Sri Lanka form a common currency. India is not going to fight with Sri Lanka because it will affect India as well, madam. So therefore, India will stop fighting with us.
Sir, India would not fight, sir. India would not fight against Sri Lanka. India would dictate Sri Lanka and also 6 other countries in South Asia. All assumptions, all factors of side proposition were assumptions of economists, ideals of idealists, and persuasions of debaters. But ladies and gentlemen, the people who are going to suffer are poor people, ladies and gentlemen. The billions of people who are under the poverty line, they are going to suffer. So it's a risk, it's a maybe. But ladies and gentlemen, the question is it a maybe you are taking a chance?
With the conclusion of the face-off round, we're ready to take a very short commercial break, but stay tuned, we'll be back with the rapid fire round. Welcome back. This is the grand finale of the Debater Season 2 with Seema on MTV Sports. We have concluded 2 rounds. We're ready to move into round 3. However, before that, we're ready to open up our stage to a representative from our proud sponsors. He's indeed a very familiar name and needs no introduction when it comes to Seema. A well-known face in the arena of business and finance. He is the finance director at the Achievers Lanka Business School. Inviting on stage Mr. J. Krishnakumar.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm indeed privileged to be watching an outstanding debate taking place between 2 teams, and what I have seen so far is simply outstanding. Simply outstanding. And I observed that some of you are speaking for the topic forming a common currency in South Asia, and there are others who are opposing it. And what I have seen so far, I've observed that both sides have carried themselves well, and they are well matched, and their arguments were very solid. But in a competition of this nature, there will emerge only one winner. And There are the ones who come out on top, and there are the others who follow. What I wish to state, or what I wish to stress here at this point of time, is that whether you win or come second, it is immaterial. You see, it's important that you should, up to now what I have seen, you have done your job superbly well. And as for me, I want you all to know that I stand with those who proposed the topic and also with those who opposed it. I mean, talking a little about debating, it's a battle of wits, of wisdom, of brains, and that demands quick critical thinking and the ability to take quick decisions on the spot. You see, one just cannot afford to make that fatal slip. That would probably lower your defenses and allow the opposition camp to creep in and deliver the knockout punch. So it's important that at all times you need to be alert, you need to listen attentively. You see, a debate of this nature is not about just speaking, it's about listening also. Because you need to identify the points that the other camp makes so that you can counter those arguments effectively. So it's as much as about listening as well as speaking. And so far what I have seen, I'm happy to note that maybe except for a rare instance, none of you dropped your defenses. And you were very alert, quick on the uptake, and your enthusiasm, your critical thinking was amazing, to say the least. I was highly impressed in particular with your superb command of the English language. Incredible. At this age, I'm very happy to see your wide and colorful vocabulary, your choice of words, the way you present the arguments, and of course, your wide knowledge of the subject. I can see very clearly that you've done your homework, you've done your research, and you have come well prepared for an event of this nature. So I'm very pleased to see that. And of course, I was awed by your communication skills. This is something that is very important for our country. And if you look at our corporate sector, we need people like you. We need people who can communicate well. I mean, bookworms, they're not going to go far. You need to communicate well. You need to express yourself. So what I saw here so far, I see the initiative, the enthusiasm, the dedication. This is what the corporate leaders want. And let me tell you, my dear participants, I can assure you that you all have what it takes to climb that corporate ladder. And if you use your intelligence, knowledge to the maximum, I am fairly confident that you can reach the top in very quick time. And you all can be our future ambassadors, undoubtedly the future leaders of our country. So you need to work towards that goal. So therefore, what I have seen so far, both Muslim Ladies College and Wycherley International have done their job very well up to now. So much for debating. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank a few people who are involved in this event. Of course, MTV for organizing this event. I think this will certainly be a very important thing because it will bring out the latent talents of our young hopefuls. And SEMA for sponsoring, and we too have sponsored this event. And I hope that MTV continues to organize events of this nature in the future too. And it's with a deep sense of pride that I wish to state that Achievers Business School is part of this mega event, and I think it's the second time we are doing it. And I think it's appropriate for me to digress a little bit and talk something about Achievers. At Achievers, we provide professional education. We provide courses for CIMA, CFA. And at Achievers, providing education is not merely getting students to prepare for professional examinations. We believe in what we call balanced education. And what I meant by balanced education is that we want our students to develop their other skills, like, for example, team building skills, leadership skills. So therefore, we encourage them to participate in extracurricular activities. In fact, at Achievers, we have a Achievers Sports Day where we offer various sporting events for our students to participate in soccer, cricket, basketball, etc. We strongly believe that this will help to build team building and leadership skills. And apart from that, we have our own unique Enterprise Awards program where we encourage and persuade our students to take part in events like making presentations and debating and various other activities. And we strongly believe that these things would help them, will create that rounded student. We want rounded students. Students who can, contribute to society. Just by doing exams, that will not happen. We need to bring out the other skills in these individuals. As we just saw, the talents displayed by our speakers. So once again, let me thank all those who made this event a reality. And in closing, I would like to leave our dear debaters a little bit of advice. I would like to give them a little bit of advice. As debaters, you must understand that the ideal debater is not the person who will, lose himself or herself by shouting or trying to create a drama. I would say, in my opinion, this is, a star debater would be the person who would listen very closely to the opposition camp and try to match their arguments or meet their arguments line for line with precise and effective counter-arguments. And that person should display good temperament and should remain cool and calm throughout the debate. So this, I believe, would help that person to objectively evaluate the arguments of the other side. So I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words. And let me wish both schools success, and both deserve to be winners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a treat to listen to you yet again, however, outside the classroom this time. And as you mentioned, our mission is to create the leaders for tomorrow who will speak out, stand up for what they believe in, and of course, make an impact in this world. And we believe from the talent that we display here tonight that we have indeed successfully achieved our mission. Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to move into round 3, the rapid fire round. This is a much sought after round as the intensity is high, the heat of the debate is high, and the difference of this round is that the arguments will follow in quick succession. Proposition, opposition, the floor is now yours.
Honorable judges, it is to be noted that the SAARC is not the NAFTA, SAFTA, EU is not a benchmark for the SAARC. SAARC, EU, NAFTA, AFTA, everything, whatever it is, it has brought out its advantages and it has a drawback. But we are following them. We can see the advantages and also the drawbacks could be avoided because we are following their footpaths and we know what is wrong and what is right. Furthermore, it is also to be noted that 8 key points, honorable judges, 8 key points which could have a tremendous impact, a positive impact on the economy were unanswered. That's right, from economic growth to any macroeconomic objectives were unanswered.
Sir, a very simple question to you. EU, NAFTA, ASEAN were all were good candidates for optimal currency area. Is SAARC one?
Definitely. The answer is definitely, because we are putting all the minds from all the countries, which will lead to long-term economic planning, which is one of our main advantages. I don't understand why the opposition doesn't get it at one go.
Sir, my question was very clear. Could you tell me as to what characteristics of SAARC makes it qualifying for an optimal currency area?
Madam, just in case you didn't know, we are not here to talk about how we could form a common currency, but on the should. Should means the advantages that we are going to get in forming a common currency. Whether the economies are so different, policies are so different, politics is there in all the countries is not what we are talking today. We are giving you 8 advantages which should come in forming a common currency. We are not here to talk about the how, madam.
The fact that I didn't get characteristics of SAARC as an optimal currency area, I would take it as SAARC is not an optimal currency area, is it?
Madam, the topic is should, and not how or can. Please be topical. The author of the debate wants us to debate whether the benefits are greater than the disadvantages. And clearly there are 8 benefits which were unanswered. So I believe, my team believes that you also believe that the benefits are greater than the drawbacks.
So your team's belief is quite wrong. A simple question, sir. So you said that it should. So if something that cannot be implemented is made a should, like for example, a street person should use a washing machine. How is this practical, sir?
We are not here to talk about the practicality. What this team has brought out today are words such as cannot, can we, how is it possible. The topic clearly says should. Should SAARC countries go into a common currency? Not can they go into a common currency or how can they go into a common currency? Please be topical.
Sir, if something that is only right theoretically is made a should, don't you think, sir, that would end up in a disaster as it is not practical?
Okay, madam, you answer this question first. You came up and told me we have an urge to establish something that wouldn't work. We have given you 8 advantages so far why it would work, and you all haven't even broken one. Does that also mean that you agree to all our 8 advantages, madam?
Ladies and gentlemen, in spite of that, Indian domination could be a destabilizing factor in South Asian common currency. Again and again, we're just saying this. What would prevent this infringement of the democratic rights of nations?
Ladies and gentlemen, we answered this question. We said one country cannot dominate when the South Asian Central Bank would have economic specialists from all member countries. They keep avoiding the question that they haven't answered our 8 points by bringing out other questions.
In spite of what side proposition said, the General Secretary said it's not advisable for ASEAN to have a single currency after the Euro's experience. Then how can it be more advisable for SAARC to have a common currency, sir?
What did you just say, that the euro is not strong? I mean, come on, the European Union is progressing because of the euro. And clearly that's a common currency. If not for the euro, the Greece would have gone down a long time back.
Thank you, sir, for the point. While Europe may be good, ladies and gentlemen, Europe was good even before Euro was implemented. It comprised of many developed nations. And ladies and gentlemen, note this. Germany and Ireland were much more stronger before Euro, and after Euro was implemented, Gypsy, that is Germany, Greece, Italy, Portugal, and all these countries went down the drains, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, if Greece wasn't a part of the European Union, or whether if they weren't in a common currency, Germany would have not helped them to come out of their recession. When you're a part of a bigger economy, it is easier. Other countries would help you to come out of recession. That's why we are saying it would be easier to cope with a shock when you're a part of a larger economy.
Sir, 8 factors, ladies and gentlemen. They stated about 8 factors. All these 8 factors revolved around the economic advantages and the political advantages that is associated with common currency. First and foremost, the economic advantages. While there are economic advantages, for example, Argentina's currency board system did have economic advantages. Economy renewed, and there was there was more international trading, etc. However, ladies and gentlemen, this common currency, that is currency board in Argentina, led to the Great Depression of Argentina between 1998 and 2002. And ladies and gentlemen, there is a very, very obvious and there is a very critical possibility that this might be the situation of SAARC tomorrow if this is implemented. Further, ladies and gentlemen, they stated about political stability. That is their next argument. The next phase of their argument was revolving around political stability. While India's hegemonic nature could be a destabilizing factor within South Asia, India, Pakistan, two power plays in South Asia, these countries are constantly in conflict with each other. If they are brought economically together, ladies and gentlemen, they would never come into a common agreement. This distrust, this aggravation could result in common currency being a failure. And one thing, if we go into common currency, there is no exit. It's just a one way.
After a rather fierce exchange of arguments from the proposition to the opposition and vice versa, we're ready to take a very short commercial break. But stay tuned, we'll be back with the last and final round. Welcome back to the grand finale of The Debater Season 2 with Seema on MTV Sports. 3 rounds done, just one more round to go. This will be the last and final opportunity for both Muslim Ladies College and Wycherley International to prove to the judges and to prove to our audience at home that it is their team that deserves to walk away with the championship tonight. And opposition, the floor is now yours.
Honourable panel of judges, worthy proposition, fellow opposition and members of the House, a good day once again. Let me bring to you the arguments brought out in this debate in summary. What side proposition stated was a list of advantages we could get if the SAARC implemented the common currency. But what they didn't show was how the characteristics, how the intrinsic features of SAARC can be manipulated to actually make use of these advantages. It is not the question. There are advantages and disadvantages in anything. But the question is, can we make use of these advantages, ladies and gentlemen? They brought out political stability, intra-factor mobility, economic growth, and the current trend. Ladies and gentlemen, we rebutted all of these points. We showed to you that the political stability in SAARC is definitely not compatible, and we definitely should not go for an optimal currency area, ladies and gentlemen. Intra-factor mobility. We have very low intra-factor mobility, and as my fellow speaker stated, if there is a common currency area, people will tend to go into more developed nations. Thereby, what is the World Bank trying to tell us now, ladies and gentlemen? They want us to implement inclusive growth. Get everyone into the growth process. By implementing a common currency in SAARC, that is the exact opposite of what we are going to do. We are going to center growth into this specific region. Make India the hub of economic growth. Let Sri Lanka go down the drain. Who cares? People get what they want, but that would be very, very unfair on the people. Ladies and gentlemen, on a very humanic approach, we have brought to you as to how the OC, the optimal currency area, is definitely not in SAARC, and how the cost of losing the monetary independence is very great. Ladies and gentlemen, 45 million people in Bangladesh are below the poverty line.
Respected judges, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. Time and time again, the opposition came here and mentioned only negative words. Not, should not, cannot, can never. These are the words that they said. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to think positive. This is the developing world. We have to think positive. And that is what side proposition is doing. Thinking positive. Giving you advantages. 8 advantages. This would lead to better economic growth. That's what we said. And ladies and gentlemen, political stability, our first point. We said that if SAARC goes in for a common currency, it would give better political stability. And why, ladies and gentlemen? Only because two countries or several countries are sharing their resources. This gives them no reason to fight with each other. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 nuclear armed regions in the SAARC. Do you think that if you just wait, if India and Pakistan go to war, it would only affect the rest of the SAARC? So if the SAARC joins, that would help all of us. And ladies and gentlemen, side proposition, they agreed to us about transaction cost reducing. They said that the SAARC has 5% and would reduce to 3.3%. Even that 2%, ladies and gentlemen, is a reduction, and it should be taken into consideration. Ladies and gentlemen, eliminate exchange risk. This point went unanswered by the opposition. Honorable judges, please flow the point towards us. Economic growth increases tourism. Sri Lanka is a tourism booming country, and it requires more tourism. And with the introduction of a common currency, this will only increase the tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, the basis of this debate is why, not can. Why? Time and time again, we have told you why SAARC should go for a common currency. And global trends toward common currency gives SAARC the opportunity to go, because if not, they would be the only ones sitting back in their chairs, and everyone else would have found a common currency.
At the end of the last and final round, the proposition spoke of a major concentration on why the SAARC should actually have a common currency. They spoke of economic stability, the increased interregional trade. They spoke of political stability, the reduced bureaucracy costs, and they sort of focused on a certain part of the definition. On the other hand, the opposition spoke of the threat of hegemony to SAARC nations and the fact that the SAARC region is actually not an optimum region currency. However, how realistic are these arguments? Some questions are left unanswered. Let's take a very short commercial break, and we'll be back with the judges' comment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the grand finale of The Debater with Seema Season 2. All the 4 rounds are done with. We have only the judges' comments to hear, and then to move on to the display of results. But before that, let us hear it from Wycherley International and Muslim ladies, a last and final cheer before we listen to the judges and before we announce the results for your 2 teams who've done a terrific job. First from Wycherley. From Muslim Ladies College to the 4 amazing ladies who represented your school. Let us hear from you. Before we move on to the results, we're ready to hear what the judges have to say about the performance of the debaters so far, and also about the quality of the arguments that were brought forward. Let us first move on to Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy. Sir, as a veteran in the field of economics, with all these themes being thrown around from one team to the other, how would you judge the quality of the arguments, and how realistic were they?
Thank you very much. Let me first thank MTV, the sponsors, and everybody else associated with the show for inviting me here. It's been a real pleasure, a privilege indeed, to listen to what have been 2 outstanding debating teams. The quality of the argumentation has been very impressive indeed. This is not an easy subject. There are some complex economic concepts embedded in it, and both teams showed a real mastery over these difficult themes. You know, it's not, a definition of an economist that he or she is a 2-handed person. Economists always say on the one hand this and on the other hand that. And that came out very clearly because both sides made very, very strong arguments for and against the proposition. There is no clear answer to the question. But what was impressive was the way they organized their material. It was structured, it was substantive, and it's been a real pleasure to be here to listen to them. I congratulate both sides, and it's hardly surprising that they have emerged as 2 extremely worthy finalists. Thank you.
Professor Karunaratne, so as an academic yourself, you've dealt with students dealing with these topics. How would you rate these 2 schools? Being school-going students, were you impressed by them, or were there space for improvement?
Yeah, first, thank you for MTV inviting me, and it was an excellent debate between 2 teams. Both of teams were very good, and they were debating up to the point. And there are a lot of economic arguments came, and economic concepts they use, and it is amazing debate. I hope both party did their well. Thank you for all. Congratulations for both parties.
Mr. Srilal Hangama, as always, you've seen these two teams before. Did you see a dramatic change in their talents and delivery and performance? And how would you rate the teams compared to the performance in the previous rounds?
I certainly did see a huge difference this time. It was an amazing debate, and they took it up a whole lot of notches higher than previously. The first two rounds were fantastic. But I think they lost the plot a bit in the third round, where they went away from the issues and were talking about each other's argument, how each other presented everything and stuff like that. But overall, it was fantastic, and both teams deserved to win. It was a 2/3 majority, and the difference was the judge who had an 8-mark difference. It was 8 marks difference that somebody won by.
Before we move on to the announcement of results, it's with greatest pleasure that I invite on stage the country head for Sri Lanka and the regional head of the Business Development and Communications at SAARC Sri Lanka, Mr. Bradley Stephen, to take the floor.
Honorable panel of judges, officials from the schools, students, parents, competitors, ladies and gentlemen. SIMA is extremely pleased to be involved with the debater for the second year in succession. And I cannot tell you how delighted we are with the standards of the competition and what MTVSports has been doing over the years to support some of the initiatives which we alone have taken aboard. Talking about the competition, I cannot but endorse what Mr. Krishna Kumar said about the competition right through, and of course the panel of judges. It's been a fantastic competition. I wouldn't want to go down that road. But in terms of the skills, yes, I think Mr. Krishna Kumar mentioned that one of the skills today which you really need to develop on is your listening skills. Because God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth to be better listeners. But how many of us tend to listen to people? And in today's context where we have to work a lot with people, you need to work and you need to understand people, and for that you have to be a good listener. And I think that came out pretty well. And also in terms of the skills, where SIMA is concerned, we are talking about making people globally capable, converting national ability to global ability. And that's what we are really talking of SIMA. And in this context, we have taken a lot of initiatives over the last 5 years in Sri Lanka. And we're proud to say that today we have nearly 35% of SIMA students coming from outside Colombo, which is basically giving them the opportunity of contributing to this national, what I would say, national hub of education, a knowledge hub. So SIMA's mission is all about helping businesses and people to succeed. And in that context, as I said, there are many initiatives taken by us, and this is just one of it. And we're extremely pleased to be associated with MTVSports and Achievers, which is one of our learning partners in this initiative. Our 2015 syllabus, which has just been launched, talks about developing the skills of people so that they are confident and competent. And in this context, it is programs like this which really help students to develop those skills. And we at SIMA understand, having spoken to employers right around the world, what the youth of today should have when they come out there to be competitive. And it's not only to be competitive in Sri Lanka, you have to be competitive in the global arena. And of course, the standard of this program has been endorsed, and I re-endorse it. And working with 1 or 2 other programs with the group here, we see a lot of talent around this country. And if we can only just nurture that talent, we are going to be one great nation. And the country, I think even the president downwards, they're looking at making it a knowledge hub. And I've had the opportunity of traveling around some of the countries in the region. And it's really lovely to see Sri Lankans holding some top positions around the world. And I'm sure that with this trend and with this type of support, that we could go to even greater heights. SEMA will always be there to support the youth of this country. And thanks once again to MTVSports for helping us to come along and organizing such a great event, and also to Achievers for being with us on this program. As to the competition, I was just sitting out there and trying to wonder which side do I support. But it was difficult to pick one out. So may I say, may the best team win today, and all the very best. Thank you.
Before we announce to you the best speaker and the winner for tonight, ready to hear it again from Wycherley International School for your team right before we announce to you the winner. Will it be from your school? Let's hear it from Wycherley. And that was Wycherley Muslim Ladies College. Up to now, you've had 2 Best Speaker awards. Do you think that this time it would go to your school? Let's hear it from Muslim Ladies College for your team. We're now ready to announce the best speaker for tonight. The speaker who was able to convince us all. The speaker who was able to bring out crisp arguments and spot-on research to prove to the House and to you at home that it is their stance that the SAARC should go ahead with. To remind you about the count again, there were 3 Best Speaker awards going to Wycherley International and 2 going to Muslim Ladies College. So there is a difference of 1. Let's see if the gap is met. Ladies and gentlemen, the best speaker of the grand finale of the Debater with SEMA Season 2 is... Ladies and gentlemen, the best speaker of the Debater Grand Finale Season 2 goes to Wycherley International, Sahal Yassin. The envelope is in my hand, and all we know that is that it was a 2/3 majority, plus that it was an 8-point difference. That will take home the championship tonight. The winners of the grand finale, the Debater with SEMA Season 2 is... Congratulations to Wycherley International School! We're now ready to move into the presentation of trophies, certificates and scholarship letters to the two finalists for tonight, the winning team as well as Muslim Ladies College. It's with greatest pleasure that I now invite to stage Mr. Ahangama, Mr. J. Krishnakumar as well as Mr. Radin Stephen to distribute the trophy and the scholarship letters to the best speaker for tonight. Inviting on stage the best speaker for tonight, Shahal Yassin. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Hangama. We would like the two gentlemen to remain with us. We're now ready to present the certificates to the runner-up team, and let me now invite the four ladies of Muslim Ladies College to receive your tokens. A job well done. Gentlemen, but your task is not yet over. We're now ready to invite the winning team for tonight, Wycherley International School, to receive your medal, certificates and scholarship letters. Pleasure that I now invite on stage Group Director Stein Studios, Ms. Shanti Bhagirathan, to deliver the trophy to the winning team. Congratulations to the winning team. The season 2 of the Debater with Seema on MTVSports. Job well done to